Ragnarok and roll.
Bringing the hammer down.
Plumbers in Brooklyn.
All that and more.
Cody, you know what to do next.
Bring me a challenge, Mike.
Welcome to episode 8 of the Super Media Brothers podcast. I'm Midnight Agent Raw.
And I'm Wakami.
What's up, motherfuckers?
Mike, son of Tyson, you are a weak challenge for Thor.
Another!
Another!
Or, DJ Khaled, another one.
Or in this case, a brother.
Oh, fuck you, Mike. He's out, man.
He's always out.
Dude, he need to just bring a pillow.
Yeah, lay a cot on the ground and just camp out.
Camp out on the floor. You sleeping on the floor tonight, bitch. Ain't no sofa.
Speaking of sleeping, you guys ain't sleeping right now. How are y'all?
That's right. You guys doing okay out there in the interwebs land?
Cause we are.
We are. We are doing just fine. And we'd like to thank you for joining us if you're listening on your smart devices, on your laptop.
Dumb devices.
Yeah, your dumb devices. You know what? That's really hilarious because I've always laughed when people get pissed off with their phones and they're like, this stupid fucking phone. And I'm like, you're calling your smartphone stupid.
Just like you wreck a smart car. It's a dumb car.
Yeah. They're not so smart, though.
No. But they always blame they don't blame the user, though.
It's a user error.
It is.
It's always user
It's
error.
never a technical error on the device.
No. Technical user. Technically, it's a user
Technical.
error. Technically, it's
Let's get technical.
Technical.
I wanna get technical.
Yes. Fuck yeah. So, we have a pretty decent array of topics today that are going to cover movies, books, music, and video gaming. And yeah. The first thing out of the gate...
It's a sneeze.
That's right.
Gesundheit.
Gesundheit. Thor Ragnarok has had a little bit more information come out. Marvel finally released a synopsis, and we have learned that Benedict Cumberbatch is going to be reprising his role as Stephen Strange for this as well.
Sweet.
Yeah. I'm not reading the full synopsis just because like it is so... It explains everything. Everybody was wondering, well, how's Mark Ruffalo going to fit into this, and what are they going to do? Basically, Thor has to defeat the Hulk in gladiatorial combat in time to stop Hela, who is played by Cate Blanchett. She's going to be like Hela's the villain of this film, and the impending Ragnarok that is going to be happening in Asgard. Jeff Goldblum is playing the Grandmaster, which they're obviously using elements of Planet Hulk in this.
I mean, seriously, yeah.
And I couldn't be more excited about that because we've wanted a solo Hulk film for a while with Mark Ruffalo, but I really feel like that character is best done as a side person along with other characters.
I mean, out of all of the side areas for the Hulk, I mean, I like the whole Planet Hulk storyline in general more than pretty much anything else, because I saw, like, what was it, Team Smash?
Yeah, Hulk and the Agents of Smash?
Yeah, I could not stand all that shit. And nothing else really appealed to me besides, like, Hulk versus Thor and Hulk versus Wolverine and all that. But I think Planet Hulk is, like, a good little area to, like, get into, like, the lore behind him and all that stuff, so... You
know what else I'd like to see happen? Like, say this happens... They could kind of pull elements from World War Hulk. You know, when he comes back from the events of Planet Hulk and he comes back to extract revenge on the rest of the Avengers and everybody that sent him off. What if they took elements of that and maybe somehow with the mind gem that Thanos is going to have in the gauntlet, maybe he takes Hulk in as one of his guys to, like,
exact revenge?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in the end of, what was it, Infinity? No, Civil War, yeah. Didn't he take off on his own accord?
No, that was Age of Ultron.
Okay.
Because he took off in that...
That's right, it wasn't in Civil War, it was in... Okay, yeah, but either way, he didn't get sent off because, they told him to. He just did his own thing.
Yeah, and I wonder how they're going to explain that, because what had happened originally in Planet Hulk was the Avengers, like, tricked him into that, and then they sent him off, and he got so pissed off that he wrecked the ship and threw its course off and landed on a different planet.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of wondering how he gets to Asgard. Maybe he was intercepted. You never know.
Possible.
Because Goldblum's character of the Grandmaster is a cosmic character, and obviously the cosmic universe has powers, that are
Beyond everything, yeah.
Yeah, so you never know. Maybe he's an intergalactic prisoner.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I'm looking forward to that as far as the casting is concerned. I mean, Tom Hiddleston is going to be Loki again, and we do know, spoilers, at the end of Doctor Strange and after the credits, Thor actually meets up with Stephen Strange to discuss hunting down Loki because he believes Loki is on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm trying to figure out how all this is going to, how they're going to make a cohesive film out of this. Because generally, the Thor films are pretty straightforward. This one seems like it's going to have a little more depth to it,
Mm-hmm.
which it needs. I really liked the Dark World, but I thought that the threat in that movie was so huge it could have called for the Avengers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, him being in a galaxy far, far away, if you want to go that route.
Dun, dun.
You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm actually looking for. I was always looking forward to any Marvel film, but I'm looking forward to this one a lot. I liked the first couple of Thor films, but I thought Thor worked better as a team player in the other films too.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he kind of falls in line with the Hulk. Like, he isn't really much of a solo character when it comes to like his story and background versus the other characters are. So when they find like one part of the timeline that actually does have interest, then that's when they're like, okay, we'll kind of branch into this versus explaining like, okay, from day one, this is actually going to be interesting. You know?
And I think the inclusion of 2 additional Marvel heroes will make this more interesting. I mean, you've got Hulk and Stephen Strange. That's really cool. That's a good mix for me.
And the Doctor Strange movie pretty much like took off, and that's the first movie that he's been in since the animateds. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I like how well it seemed like the casual moviegoers like took to him very well.
Mm-hmm.
Like took to this character. That says a lot also about Cumberbatch's performance as this character.
Well, pretty much everything he touches is fucking gold. I mean,
You're right.
He's a good Sherlock. He's a good Smaug. I mean, come on now.
All his Cumber bitches are in line.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, Thor Ragnarok is hitting theaters this November. We're getting 3 Marvel films this year. We're getting Guardians Volume 2. We're getting Spider-Man Homecoming, and then we're capping it off with Thor in November. So look out for that, and I think it's going to be probably one of Marvel's better ones.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's kind of hard to say, considering that we've already had so many like knockouts.
Yeah, I think the elements for this one are in place for it to be like a really good one. Like if they can't knock it out of the park with this one, there's something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So
we'll see.
Yeah, and oddly enough, there's another topic we're going to talk about that has to do with
Norse mythology.
Yeah.
So this little bastard right here gave me the second installment to the Magnus Chase series, The Gods of Asgard. And the second book is actually called The Hammer of Thor. And basically where it takes off from the first book is everybody does their own little thing. Magnus is doing his thing in Valhalla and whatnot. Well, apparently Thor's hammer gets taken or it gets misplaced. Oh, Thor. What are you going to do with you?
You drunken bastard.
Anyway, yeah, exactly. So, I'm reading along and I'm getting into everything. It's picking up pretty quickly. There's already the death in the very first chapter, which is kind of not surprising at this point. Come to find out that Loki is a mist again, and he's actually causing trouble like he normally does, but in a very unique way, and it's kind of, I'm kind of curious to see how it pans out. He's actually trying to set up a marriage between one of the giant kings and one of his offspring in order to get the hammer.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So far.
Wow.
Yeah. It's definitely picking up. Like I said, the first chapter had like 1 death already, which, that's obvious. And then it's kind of, picking up where the last book left off with all the characters, like the Floor 19 crew and everything like that. They had one really interesting part so far where Magnus had his head chopped off by one of his crew members because his head was about to explode.
Shit.
Yeah, Loki was channeling into him, and it was so much God power that his head was literally like fuming. So Alex, one of the newer characters in the crew, grabbed one of those goats and just chopped his head off. And he was having like an out of body experience with just his head floating around, like all these dreams and shit.
Oh shit, man!
Yeah, it was pretty interesting.
It reminded me of Wayne's World. Did you ever see that movie Scanners where that dude's head blew up?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was thinking the whole time.
Basically the same thing, except it didn't explode. It just got cut off.
He cut it off like Anakin cut off Count Dooku's head.
Do it.
Do it.
I remember that video with every time they're clash of lightsabers, you always say, "Do it,
Do it. 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 Do it.
My powers have grown since the last time we met, Count. Good. Twice the pride, double the fall. Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it.
That's fucking hilarious. And then, okay, when he said "do it," whenever he Palpatine finally says "do it," it's
the lightsaber clash. He goes, "Now kill him now. I can't."
And then when he cuts his head off,
do it.
I love those.
Is that one the first one they came out with Anakin? I mean, not Anakin. Obi-Wan going, "Hello there, hello there, hello there, hello there."
I love stupid videos like that. Oh my
man.
god,
they bring me life.
oh my gods, oh my
Norse gods.
oh my Norse gods. So, have you finished the book yet?
I'm like 13 or 14 chapters in.
Nice.
Yeah, right now they're trying to find the hammer in this barrel somewhere in Boston, I think it is.
Boston.
Boston. Yeah, they're trying to see if that's where the hammer is, so that way that one of the characters doesn't marry this giant king.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Well, shit, you have to let me know how the actual thing is once it's finished. But yeah, I saw that in Books a Million, and I was like, I remember on our previous podcast you talked about Rick Riordan a lot, and I know that's one of your
My
favorite
go-tos.
things. Yeah. And I saw it, and I was like, it's new. I was like, I know this motherfucker doesn't have this yet because he'd be raving about it if he did. So.
Yeah, I'll be posting pictures on Facebook about doing it.
Mm-hmm. Do it.
Do it. Buy it.
Yeah, that's what I did. I was like, well, fuck, this motherfucker needs his Christmas present. So that was.
Wish this bastard didn't have to give me a Christmas
I
present.
wanted to, man.
It don't matter.
It don't matter.
It don't matter.
Bromance.
Fuck you.
I'm actually going to take this to a band that normally we generally talk about a lot of things that are current or like coming out. I'm actually going to take this opportunity to dive back in time. There was a VH1 television show that only had one season, and it was called Bands on the Run. I don't know if you remember that.
I do.
Okay, cool. Well, you'll probably remember a lot of this shit then. So anybody out there that's listening, this series premiered in 2001 on VH1. The premise behind it, before it became what it became, was VH1 wanted to do a special on bands that had siblings in it. The band in question I'll be talking about shortly is that. The singer and bassist are siblings. Mm-hmm. What happened is it turned into VH1 wanted to find the best unsigned bands in the country. So, out of, I think, a few thousand, 4 bands made it on. There was a band called Harlow. It was an all-female goth punk band. There was a band called the Josh Dotus Band that it would have really been basically Spin Doctors and Dave Matthews Band. Yeah, I know. A band of assholes called Soulcracker, which were the epitome of what was happening in 2000 to 2003 as far as your pop punk shit, with a little bit of heavier tinge, kind of like Sum 41 was trying to do and things like that. And then the band in question that I thought was the absolute best, Flicker Stick. Flicker Stick is based out of Dallas, Fort Worth, Denton, Texas area. So if any of our Dallas listeners are, hearing this and actually haven't heard of this band, go check them out. Go check their discography out. Anyway, Flicker Stick wound up winning this television series contest and had their demo called Welcoming Home the Astronauts re-released on Epic Records. Part of the deal of winning was that they got an A&R showcase with Epic. $10,000. I'm sorry, I think it was like $100,000 worth of equipment from Guitar Center. They had a grand prize purse of $5,000 for winning the final Battle of the Bands and a few other things. But when this album came out, I was really interested to hear it just because watching the TV show, it was the only band on there that I really gave a shit about because their music was very well written. They remind me a lot of good, like, straight up rock and roll with a little bit of U2 and Pink Floyd elements in there. Like, they have a little bit of space rock element. There's some... And I only say this just because of, like, the instruments used. Like, the guitars have a lot of delay, and the drum production's really tight. But they are a rock band. They're a Texas rock band. So, obviously, they've got the bad boy, attitude at the same time. But their music doesn't necessarily reflect it. But I liked it. Welcoming Home the Astronauts was, by far, one of those things that I was pissed because it should have gotten more recognition than it did. I mean, it came out 15 years ago, obviously, but I feel like they got cheated out of, a lot of, in my opinion, very deserved attention when Epic Records kind of failed to promote them as much as they should have. I mean, they toured their asses off. They toured for years and years. They went back. They did a live album called Causing a Catastrophe and then released an EP called To Madagascar and Back. And then not long after, they dropped their album Tarantula, which was a much darker full-length album than Welcoming Home the Astronauts. But the standout tracks to me on Welcoming Home the Astronauts are Coke, and it's about the drink, not cocaine. I have to say that just because...
All I wanted was a Coke.
All I wanted was a Coke. I just needed that bump. You want to bump some rails off of some titties? No, man, I just want a soda. Just like...
It's that brown syrup.
Beautiful, which was the lead single from the album. Sorry, Wrong Trajectory. And in my opinion, I think one of the cooler tracks on there was called Direct Line to the Telepathic. If you buy the Epic Records release, there's a hidden track called Execution by Christmas Lights that's really good. I actually just recently, and it's why I'm talking about this, I just recently found the original demo from 226 Records in Dallas that they recorded before they got it re-released. Now, if anybody out there has ever heard a band and is used to a certain album and they go find maybe that there was a demo version of this album or like a previously done version, the mixes are different, the instruments sound different, maybe the composition was a little different, maybe the way they sang lyrics, and that's actually how it is on here. And there's a few mixes on here that I prefer to the real album that got released.
See, that reminds me of Amberlin did a release for their Lost Songs, and they had a lot of like side B tracks from like their previously, not the final cuts, but the cuts before. Like some of the songs they had Ready Fuels they released on there. There was like an older version of it, and it was just like a very like unpolished, very garage sound. Like the guitars sounded a lot high pitched, and they dragged out like certain bridges and stuff like that, and it just sounded so different. But it actually sounded good way back then before they even released the actual song.
That's what I liked about this, like the 226 version. And I say like U2 and Pink Floyd, they actually had a lot of Mazzy Star influence as far as instrument-wise, because the song Coke, before it got, there are a few that got remixed, for the other release, but it was very much acoustic-driven. There was drums and, other shit, but very acoustic-driven, very well done. This band, it was like a perfect mixture of what you would call 90s alt-rock with, some of the better ideas from the aughts, that came forward, from the 2000s. It was a good mixture, but it sucks because I feel like maybe it just wasn't the right time. Like they were
ahead of their time, basically.
They kind of were for me. They disbanded in 2009. The lead singer Brandon Lee is actually fronting a new band called Jetta and the Ghost Tree, and they're based out of Dallas, and it's a little bit more of Texas psychedelic rock. It's really good. But if you guys out there want something a little different and you want maybe something that feels I hate to use the term vintage because it was just like 15 years ago, but if you want something that's a little nostalgic from that era, go find it on Amazon, because it's actually not available on iTunes. The Welcoming Home the Astronauts CD, and the band is called Flicker Stick. Their other albums are available on iTunes, but if you want that album, find it on Amazon. They still sell physical CD copies of it, so
nice.
Check them out.
Hold your horses, Richie. It's time to switch it up.
Oh shit! Fucking air horn, son.
My voice saying, no, I can't do that.
Well, fuck a duck. Yeah, it is time to switch it up.
To the Nintendo Switch.
That's right. They just had the Nintendo Switch presentation this past week.
They did.
Holy shit. And we've talked about the Switch before, but now that there's like a little more oomph to it, Cody and I are excited as fuck to share with you guys all the stuff that we got to see. And I mean, two things in particular, but there's a fuckload of things.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we already discussed like the basic capabilities of the game system, and what I don't really understand is they had a different coloration of the system. Like they had the controls, they were like red and blue versus the regular gray, which they could have done both blue or both red, but they had them kind of alternating, which I thought was kind of strange. But otherwise, nothing really has changed since they announced like that little teaser trailer, like a kind of like a little side video, basically. But they officially announced that the Zelda Breath of the Wild version for the Switch is going to be released alongside the system itself on March 3rd.
So this is pretty much their launch game.
It's going to be the launch game, and holy shit. They finally released the actual trailer for this game. I have not cried for a Zelda game since, I think, Majora's Mask. Like, that game alone made me cry. But watching the trailer for this game was like, I was literally just like in tears of joy, just pooling around my body. It was just so beautiful. They have voice acting now.
Yeah.
In this game, which I thought was weird because you're so used to like the little chimes and hums and weird kind of like,
listen!
Stuff like that, and had the dialogue on the bottom too. But I don't know if they're doing like a combination of both, or is it like you can do one or the other. So
that'd be an interesting option.
Yeah, because I mean, I know Link doesn't really converse, but the other characters, they actually had the dialogue to speak for, and now they're having like, I think Zelda was speaking most of the time and showing like emotion with the voice as well.
Crying in his arms and shit.
I was like, God damn, stop with the feels, man. This is too much. And also, god damn, they have a way to make Wolf Link a partner, like one of your little sidekicks. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, why haven't I gotten this game? I need this fucking game in my fucking hands right now, man. God damn.
It makes me so happy that they held it off from the Wii U for launching it on there and then waiting to launch it for the Switch.
Yeah, now they're doing for both.
Yeah.
So it's not like you get it for one or the other, or you have to wait for the other. No, you're getting both copies for, the same amount of time. Yep. Or the same time they launch. So that, I mean, like I said, nothing has really drastically changed for either one of these, like the games in the system itself. But now that they actually have an official reveal trailer, like the game trailer behind it, it gives you more of an idea of like the emotions behind the series versus just like open world, just what you can do, just some of the stuff in there. Now it's like, holy shit. Now I'm investing actual emotions into this game.
I really hope that it looks like the amount of hours that you could spend on this game playing it,
is Nintendo Skyrim.
Yeah, and that's another thing I wanted to talk about before we got into here. That they actually had the creator of that, like, announcing that Skyrim is coming to the Switch. Mm-hmm. I mean, there were a lot of games that they had put out. The only other thing I wanted to speak on was, like, as far as the capabilities of the Switch, is they had this one game called 1-2 Switch. Mm-hmm. Have you seen that one?
I haven't seen it, but I heard of it.
Okay, it's really neat. You don't have to look at the screen. You don't have to look at the TV. You don't have to look at the screen to interact with each other. And it's games where it's like you can sword fight. You can do quick draws with the remotes. You take the screen out of the Switch console. You set it up, and you can take it with you. This is the thing. They tried to make this as a on the go party game that you can have with get-togethers. Like, we can get a group of people together and play like this. You take and you set up the screen with its kickstand, and it speaks to you. You pick a game you want, and it could be like quick draw. Like, you and I could stand across from each other, and it says something, and we have to react. Quick draw, shoot. Yeah. And it'll give you your scores and everything. Like, you don't have to pay attention to the screen to play these games. You can sword fight with each other. You can, there's a boxing thing where you have to throw and land punches. Like, they were showing the actual controllers have individual gyros in them, and they were talking about how you can feel things happening, and they were showing this guy with a glass of ice next to him, and he's like, if there's one cube and he's shaking the remote, you can feel if there's 1, 2, 3 cubes of ice in your controller. It's an all around. It's literally called the video gaming industry's first HD controller. They're built with infrareds on the ends of them, and you can point it at your hand, and it can read your hand motions. You can do sign language to it. It'll tell you if you're holding up 1, 2, 3, 4 fingers, any of that stuff. It's the capabilities of this thing are so beyond my expectations. I sat and watched the entire Japanese presentation on this because they had so many cool additions. It comes with the straps.
Yeah.
When you put the straps on, it hooks in where it would normally slide into the console, and it's got the little extra top buttons to make it easier. Then the controller just fits in the palm of your hand if you want to play 2 players and stuff.
Yeah.
And that was the idea behind it as well. It already comes with 2 controllers, for multiplayer. But I was so impressed with the gyroscopes in each of the
They actually
things.
respond more than just motion.
Yeah, and it's not like you don't have to point it a certain way to do it. You can
Twirl and twist.
Yep.
And yeah. Mm-hmm.
And holy shit, it's... Oh, I've been waiting for Nintendo to put a console out this good since the 64. Flat out.
Yeah, I mean, the GameCube had its moments, but the 64 was the prime game system of their era.
And this is how you spoke highly of Zelda. That's where I'm going with what I'm really excited about.
And I had to show you this.
Yeah, because I didn't hear about it. And because I've been wondering, I'm like, well, what the fuck is the new Mario title going to be? Because when Nintendo comes out with something, there's a Mario title. Mm-hmm. And we've been seeing for the Wii and the Wii U, they were putting out the platforming style. And Cody, you and I have talked so much about we need a good 64 style to come out. And motherfucker,
right on the bat.
Oh, did they deliver? And not only did they delivered something that is going to be different, and it's changing the game of Mario for me. The trailer is for Super Mario Odyssey, and the trailer opens in what I'm considering to be Brooklyn in New York, where Mario is from. It's his home. He's running around the city, jumping on taxi cabs and building hopping and swinging off of light poles and
jump roping with locals.
Yeah, dude, and it's fucking cool. I was like, holy shit! But then he jumps on this this kind of spaceship looking thing that looks like it's right out of Galaxy, and he takes it to the Mushroom Kingdom. Now, the gameplay that I saw reminded me a lot of Mario 64, and even like you were mentioning, Mario Sunshine.
It had a lot of elements of all the games from the days of old. It was Sunshine, Galaxy, 64, even 3D World and all the other stuff like that. Because, a lot of the art style is still pending on the 3D World and, the more recent ones for the Wii U and shit.
Yeah, and for the first time ever, Mario comes with a secondary weapon. His hat. His hat can be used as a frisbee. And from one of the things I saw, you can throw the hat and it stays out for a while, and he can actually jump onto the hat as a
platform.
Spring. Yeah, It's so awesome. But that's, again, what we were talking about with all the gaming being combined into one, as far as this game goes. That's how they pitched the Nintendo Switch, was that it was legitimately an amalgam of every console they'd ever made. Because even with the GameCube at that time, they were talking about how cool would it be to take your console with you from place to place. It had a handle on it.
Yeah, it was like a little lunchbox.
Yeah, but nobody was ready for it then.
No.
Nobody was. But, they said...
it's basically a giant 3DS. With the big screen, you can just basically take anywhere you go.
And that's how they were talking about it. They have... they're talking about how with the NES... with the Game Boy, they had, the Take and Go. Mm-hmm. With the Nintendo Entertainment System, they brought back the cartridges kind of style instead of discs or whatever.
Well, yeah, now they're like little DS, 3DS type cartridges. They're flat little squares.
Mm-hmm. They were talking about how with the Super NES, they added the X and Y and the L and R buttons. Mm-hmm. Then they were talking about how with the 64, they introduced the world's first analog, home gaming analog stick with joystick with the vibration control.
The rumble pack, yeah.
It's still, each of those gyros has their own rumble pack in it. Mm-hmm. Then with the GameCube, that was their whole idea of taking it on the go. Mm-hmm. Then with the Wii,
It was motion controls.
motion controls. With the Wii U was
The screen.
the screen on the console, like on your controllers itself. And now with the Switch, it is every one of those things combined into one. When I found out finally, depending on whatever title you get, the battery for that thing can last 2 to 6 hours. And it's also going to come with its own charger that they're going to sell wireless charging cases for. So, you can take Zelda and Mario on the go.
Anywhere you go.
Yeah. And this is going to be really great because, I've got an 8-year-old that takes his, DS with him when we go on long car trips. Shoot. If he doesn't want to, if he doesn't, if he's in the middle of something, I'm not, oh, hey, you got to pause until we get back. No, take that motherfucker with you.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And you can watch TV on this thing. I mean, it's got the kickstand because they're going to be offering, obviously, like all of our,
our television, little like Vudu and Hulu and Netflix and yeah.
I love it. And also they're doing they canceled out region control. Mm-hmm. They finally took that off. They are making everything like you can link your screens up with other people and have up to 8 people like doing co-op gaming together.
Yeah, like on the streets or in someone's house or just not in school obviously, but
yeah.
On college campus when you're on your off time, hey, let's play a few rounds or something. Hell, let's play a few rounds of Splatoon 2 because that's coming out too.
Yeah, yep.
And that's going to be fucking sweet as hell.
I know. So many... It's funny, I have not been... and I'm a Sony guy. I haven't been this hyped for a console, oh man, probably since the PlayStation 2. Because what sold me on PS2 was like Grand Theft Auto and things like that.
Oh yeah.
But I've not been this excited for a home release like console since then. Everything else is just,
I've always been hyped for every Nintendo console. I mean, the Wii was kind of the lower end, but every other console I've actually been very enjoyed with. I've actually been wanting it since I heard about it. But this one, I mean, just seeing what the capabilities are in general have me impressed, but knowing the processing power that's behind it, like the whole entire NVIDIA processor behind it, that makes it noteworthy already. And third of all, just how well done they've made Zelda up until now, and Breath of the Wild has just like wowed me so much.
Yeah, that and the Mario title I was the most impressed with, just because I feel like Nintendo finally has a product there. I mean, they always stood behind their products, obviously. Nintendo is not about beating Sony and Microsoft. Nintendo's strictly always, to me, in my opinion, has been about innovation.
Well, in a way, what you were just saying earlier, they're not about beating Sony and Microsoft. They're about beating themselves. Trying to up themselves more than what they did. I was like, okay, what can we do better than the GameCube? Well, they did the Wii. Okay, well, the Wii was blah, 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 blah. What can we do better than that? The Wii U. Okay, now where do we go? And that's basically what Nintendo's doing. They're trying to better themselves and be above themselves versus me like, well, Microsoft's beating our ass. What are we going to do about that? No. Do better what we can do with ourselves.
Mm-hmm. And Nintendo's goal has always been family, friends.
Mm-hmm. Compatibility, mobility, versatility.
Yep. And I love that everything that they've done brings people together.
Mm-hmm.
You can play with your friends. I mean, of course you can play all these other games with your friends online, but they are encouraging people to get out and go, commiserate.
With people. Yeah, actual people in person.
Mm-hmm. And so excited, man. I could talk about the Switch for hours, just based on its capabilities and the production surrounding all the games. Yeah, dude, that's all I've got for it. Like Breath of the Wild and Super Mario Odyssey. Oh, okay. You mentioned Zelda is going to be released with the console. Mm-hmm. Super Mario Odyssey is not going to be available until holiday 2017.
So we got about a year.
Yeah, roughly. So the hype will be worth it, though.
Oh damn! Yes.
Now all we really need is for Mike Tyson to get up off the fucking floor, and hopefully the Switch will. Yeah, I mean, kind of look down there. Switch should probably
wake up, Mike. Get your bitch ass off the floor,
you motherfucker. Get up. They're gonna put you in a new game. They might put you in a new game. They might put you in a new Punch-Out game. You never know.
Switch out.
Yes, Mike Tyson switch out because we got to switch this motherfucker out for a new drummer.
He's too fucking lazy.
Yeah, we got to switch him out for a new drummer. Cue the music.
Doop.
Yeah. Well, fuck. Yep. This has been Odyssey of the Wild. So, we will be back next week talking your ears off about more cool shit. And until next time, I've been Midnight Agent Raw.
And I'm Okami.
Shades on!
We're all